Oddities were the term for various bizarre occurrences in ruins that defied normal comprehension. These phenomena appeared alien to this world, with each one typically governed by its own distinct rules. The power of an oddity's rules varied as well. In the cultivation world, it was standard to categorize oddities' strength according to the highest cultivation realm they could impact, dividing them into chi refinement level oddities, foundation establishment level oddities, golden core level oddities, and similar groups. Any cultivator entering an oddities area whose cultivation was below the oddities rule level would have to follow that rule. Breaking it meant inevitable death, with no exceptions. Cultivators whose cultivation surpassed the oddities rule level might stay unaffected and depart without issue. However, regardless of one's cultivation height, the oddity could not be modified. Even a Tao Unity expert could not alter the rules of a Chi refinement level oddity, nor save anyone who had already broken an oddity's rule. When living beings stepped into an oddity's range, its rules would trigger automatically. Only after enough deaths happened, or once the oddity's rules were fully understood, could the cultivators within escape. Having thoroughly reviewed the survival guide to exploring sect ruins, Li Fan believed the 100 contribution points were a worthwhile expense. Armed with this knowledge, he now had much greater assurance for his planned venture into Cloudwater Palace 2 years later. In his prior life, the revelation that Sikoni had acquired the Cloudwater model from Cloudwater Palace and earned 100,000 contribution points sparked an exploration frenzy among Songyunsi's cultivators. While the Cloudwater model might have been claimed, a place that large surely contained more than just that single treasure. Motivated by this expectation, successive groups of cultivators from the Songyunsi rushed into Cloudwater Palace, ignoring the risks, even some rogue cultivators journey from far-off continents, attracted by its renown. Yet the precise way Sikoni had secured the Cloudwater model stayed unknown, with numerous conflicting stories and no agreement. Therefore, if Li Fan aimed to obtain the Cloudwater model this time, his optimal approach was to discreetly follow Sikoni and take it at the pivotal instant. With 2 years left before Cloudwater Palace emerged, he could start collecting details on Sikoni. After all, understanding the enemy and oneself was key. Simultaneously, he had to enhance his own abilities as fully as possible. Li Fan shifted his focus to the Chi refinement offensive techniques listed in the Tianxian mirror. He swiftly browsed the descriptions, looking for a method that fit his needs. Abruptly, his attention fixed on a specific technique, Nether Spirit Illusion Art. The description explained it as an illusion-oriented method. It required imagining and cultivating a phantom spirit in the mind, which could be called forth during fights to confuse foes. When the phantom spirit became strong enough, it could penetrate an enemy's sea of consciousness and deliver direct attacks on divine sense. This method appeared perfectly suited to him. He wasn't certain how his divine sense stacked up against other cultivators, but with experiences from many lifetimes and the support of the Xianhuang Heart Refinement Sutra, it surely wasn't lacking. Furthermore, the act of visualizing and nurturing a phantom spirit. A crimson figure unexpectedly appeared in Li Fan's thoughts. If he based the visualization on crimson flame, the phantom spirit that emerged would probably possess remarkable strength. Considering the concept, Li Fan chose to buy this technique right away. However, the cost. Li Fan's eyelid twitched upon seeing it. 2,500 points. That matched the price of a fairly basic foundation establishment technique. It was no surprise that such a potent method had remained unpurchased for so long. Nevertheless, Li Fan clenched his jaw and acquired the Nether Spirit Illusion Art. In a flash, his contribution points dropped to 1321. The points arrived swiftly but vanished even quicker. He had initially planned to acquire an escape technique too, but with his current shortage, that would need to be postponed. The pressing task was to advance the Nether Spirit Illusion Art to the late-stage Chi refinement realm, starting the Tianxian Mirror's assisted cultivation mode and setting the exquisite Leoli Pearl nearby. Li Fan commenced his practice. In under a day, he advanced the Nether Spirit Illusion Art to the mid-stage Chi refinement realm. Reaching mid-stage Chi refinement allowed starting the visualization of a phantom spirit in the mind. Though termed the phantom spirit, the visualization target could not be invented from thin air. It needed to draw from something that actually existed in the cultivation world. His thoughts moved gradually. With memories rising one by one before his eyes, Li Fan sensed as though he had gone back to his prior life, once more seeing the instant when crimson flame burned the sea. A vague outline gradually formed in Li Fan's sea of consciousness, however. Even this incomplete shape made Li Fan's body heat soar dramatically. Sweat flowed from him like rain. With a frown, Li Fan strongly ran the Heart Refinement Sutra. Holding back the burning feeling, he kept visualizing Crimson Flame's shape. As the Crimson Flame phantom spirit took form bit by bit, Li Fan's body temperature rose higher and higher. Shortly after, Li Fan coughed up blood forcefully. Li Fan wiped the blood from his lips. Although this effort failed, he felt no dismay. He bought one restoration pill from the Tianxian mirror. After pausing briefly to recuperate, he started visualizing again. He used 10 contribution points to buy a single ice heart pill. After taking it, Li Fan resumed his efforts, but it remained ineffective. The phantom spirit still broke apart at the last instant before completion. Following over a dozen tries, the ice heart pill's effects started to weaken. Li Fan halted, thinking inwardly. The sole arbiters of heaven and earth are indeed remarkable. Even forming a phantom spirit based on one proves impossible. Some rule or limit must be involved here that I don't know about. The sole arbiters of heaven and earth served as embodiments of certain world laws. If Crimson Flame's flame stood for a law tied to fire, then what particular significance did Crimson carry? Were there additional flames beyond Crimson Flame? Li Fan started testing right away. He continued visualizing a sole arbiter of heaven and earth, matching in form and presence to his recall of Crimson Flame. This time, though, he altered its color from crimson to green. Now, the phantom spirit shaped successfully, yet it was very feeble, resembling an empty husk, entirely without strength to injure a foe. Li Fan scattered the budding phantom spirit from his sea of consciousness, then attempted once more. This time, he switched the color from green to black, similar to Crimson Flame. The black flame phantom spirit did not form. The distinction was that visualizing black flame created no strong burning feeling. After testing all colors he could imagine, he found there were basically 4 results. The first involved failure to form, with a feeling of intense heat during visualization, similar to Crimson Flame. The second allowed formation, but the result was empty and ineffective, like Green Flame. The third prevented formation, with no unusual events during the process, like Black Flame. And the fourth was the most distinctive result. In Li Fan's sea of consciousness, a phantom almost the same as Crimson Flame gradually came together, but its color was blue. As the blue flame phantom spirit slowly appeared, Li Fan's body temperature dropped sharply. Frost layers extended outward from where he sat on the ground. Li Fan's heartbeat slowed more and more, and his life force diminished quickly. But his consciousness entered an odd state. It felt like his soul had detached from his body, viewing the shifts in his physical form from outside, without any emotional response. In this condition, Li Fan quietly observed as his body became fully covered in ice. It appeared dropped into absolute zero, entering complete stillness and quiet. At the same time, in Li Fan's sea of consciousness, the blue flame phantom spirit took full shape. The temperature stayed unchanged, but life force quickly returned to Li Fan's body, as if the severe cold no longer impacted him. With one thought from Li Fan, the blue flame in his sea of consciousness flickered a bit, and the strong cold disappeared instantly. In a flash, Li Fan went back to normal, leaving that state of total logic. The severe cold seemed like a dream, with no remnant left. Is this blue flame's power? The extended practice had used up his supplies. His contribution points had decreased again, leaving him with just over 100. It felt as if he had over 3,000 points only yesterday. But now, in a short time, his stock was nearly gone. Cloudwater Palace opens in about 2 years. Before that, I need to discover a method to gain more contribution points and build my strength. After thinking a bit, Li Fan removed the communication spirit talisman He Zhenghao had provided and sent a note. Brother He, do you know ways to rapidly get contribution points? I've checked the Tianxian mirror for a while. Most tasks give only a few dozen points, yet my practice uses 30 points daily. At this pace, how can I ever get a foundation establishment technique? He Zhenghao answered. Haha, that's simply the nature of our Myriad Immortals alliance. New cultivators usually must work hard for years to exchange for one technique. It happens to everyone. However, since I referred you, it's right for me to help. After all, I also wish for you to achieve foundation establishment soon. But this isn't something to talk about via spirit talismans. If you want, come to Leoli Island, we'll discuss in person. Li Fan had asked casually and didn't expect much, so He Zhenghao's quick and sure response was unexpected. A real timely rain, but such kindness always has a purpose behind it. He remembered how He Zhenghao had consistently shown notable generosity in the 2 lifetimes he knew him. It was quite unusual for cultivators. Without delay, he exited the Tianxian mirror and went directly to Leoli Island. He Zhenghao chuckled when he saw Li Fan. It appears you couldn't hold back, fellow Taoist. He clapped his hands, and the mountain under their feet abruptly shook. Right after, Li Fan saw a remarkable view. All the mountains in the nearby range lifted up together. But Li Fan soon saw the reality. It wasn't the other mountains lifting. It was the mountain under his feet that was dropping. Li Fan gazed up. The mountain range and the island protection array now hovered over his head like stars. Seeing Li Fan's look, He Zhenghao showed a bit of pride. What do you think of my mountain river constellation array, fellow Taoist? Even in his prior life, Li Fan had never seen the real form of Leoli Island's protective array. Viewing it now, he spoke with true respect. The mountain river constellation array is really impressive. However, why does Leoli Island's protective array appear? He Zhenghao knew what Li Fan would ask and became prouder. That's because Leoli Island's array was built personally by me. Of course, it varies from those on other islands. Li Fan was truly surprised. I hadn't thought fellow Taoist was so skilled in array cultivation. But he added with doubt. An array this large, and you built it with just foundation establishment cultivation? He Zhenghao coughed and took on a grave look. Naturally, I had help, but the array's setup was completely directed by me. He Zhenghao said with assurance. To tell you honestly, fellow Taoist, my foundation establishment curio is a mountain river 100 veins array diagram, so my ability in array cultivation greatly exceeds that of regular cultivators. Leaving cultivation aside, when it comes only to arrays, even typical array masters at the nascent soul realm might not always match me. So that's the case. Li Fan nodded, then inquired more. I wonder, fellow Taoist what is this issue you mentioned? Why the secrecy and detailed setup? He Zhenghao smiled and said. It's not too big, really, it's just a bit against the rules, fellow Taoist. Do you know that long ago, all mortals in the cultivation world were sent away to different nearby minor worlds?